So picture this, you go live abroad for a few months, and when you return, there's a set of strangers living in your home, Goldilocks and the Three Bears style. And when you approach them and ask what the hell they're doing in your home, they tell you that it's not your home, it's their home, that they bought it legitimately and they are now the legal owners. They're just as confused as you are. So you call up your real estate lawyer, you have them run a title search, and the lawyer confirms that yes, your house was actually legitimately sold to these people, only you had no idea. You never put the house up for sale. It was sold out from under you. That's exactly what happened to a Toronto couple recently. And the craziest thing is when that story started hitting the news, a number of other people started coming forward saying that the same thing had actually happened to them. So this is not a one-off incident. There's a report that recently came out that we suspect that at least 30 homes in the last little while have been sold right out from under the owner. So in this video, we're gonna tell you about the scam itself, how it works. We're also gonna tell you who these scammers target. And last but not least, we're going to tell you what you can do to protect yourself from ever having it happen to you. Most of the stories that have come out so far have been based in Toronto. However, this is something that could happen literally anywhere. So here's how the scam works. And before I start, it's nowhere near as sophisticated or as complex as you may think. So the first step is that the scammers will gain access to a vacant property. They typically do this one of two ways. One, if the property is put up for rent, they will pose as tenants and end up entering into a lease on the property using fake information. Or two, if the property has just been left vacant, right? Someone's out of the country, they choose not to rent their house, they leave it empty while they're away. The scammers will simply break in, they'll move in, they'll get new keys made, they'll have the locks changed, and they'll pose as the new tenants or homeowners. And once they have access to the property, the scammers will create fake IDs to impersonate the homeowners, and then they'll hire an unsuspecting realtor to list the property for sale. Now, they'll typically tell the realtor that they are highly motivated sellers. They're going to list the property for below market value, looking for a quick sale and a quick close. In a perfect world for the scammer, they even sell the property off market. These are all things that will shorten the process and hopefully for the scammers help them avoid detection. Once the home is sold, the scammers will hire a real estate lawyer who's also likely an unsuspecting party to this fraud to close out the transaction. They'll provide that real estate lawyer with their fake IDs, with the legitimate firm offer to purchase the property, and then they'll also provide the lawyer with bank account info to an account that the scammers, they themselves control. So once the lawyer has closed out the transaction, the proceeds of the sale are transferred to the scammer's bank account, and they make off with the money and move on to look for their next victim. So what are some of the things that might make you a target to these people? Well, essentially these scammers are looking for three things when they're deciding on a mark or a victim. The first thing they look for is a home that is not inhabited by its owner, and ideally where the owner is living abroad or at the very least far away from where the home is located. It's a lot harder to sell someone's home out from under them when that person is living in the home or living right around the corner from the home. The second thing they look for are homes that are located in densely populated areas, right? They're looking for urban areas, high-rise condos, places where it's a lot easier for the scammers to come and go anonymously than say in a small town where everybody sort of knows everybody and knows everyone's business. The third thing they look for, and this is the biggest one, they specifically target homes that are mortgage-free or at worst have very, very little mortgage left on them. Now, that information is actually fairly easy to find. Most lawyers have access to it, so it's not as complicated as you might think to pull that info up. So the reason they target homes that are mortgage-free is twofold. The first part of the reason is that anytime you sell a home, any mortgage or loans you have taken out against that property are automatically paid off first when the sale closes. So by selling homes that are mortgage-free, the scammers are ensuring maximum profitability. The other part of the reason is that by selling homes that are mortgage-free, we avoid involving a lender in the transaction. So that's just one less person, one less verification, one less opportunity for the scammers to be found out. So those are the three things that the scammers look for. They look for homes that are not owner occupied and where the owner is living abroad or far away. They look for homes that are located in densely populated areas, and they look for homes that are mortgage free. So it's pretty messed up, right? It's not exactly a complicated scheme, and yet it's allowed these scammers to sell what is for many their largest financial asset right out from under them. And it's happened dozens of times. So what does it mean? Does it mean you should never own rental property or that we should all move out to the country? Luckily, there are easier solutions. So here's how you protect yourself from becoming a victim of this scam. So there's a couple of obvious things you can do. First and foremost, if you're going to be out of the country for a long time and your home's going to be vacant, don't advertise it. Don't let all your neighbors and people that you don't really know that well know that your home is going to be empty for months at a time. And if you are renting the home out while you're away, same thing. Don't tell your tenants that you're going to be out of the country. They don't need to know that. They just need to know how to reach you. The other obvious one is if you are going to be away and your home's going to be either empty or tenanted while you're away, you should be checking in on that property on a regular basis, right? So either get a friend, a family member, a neighbor that you trust. And in the case of tenanted properties, really, really good idea to get a good property manager who will, again, keep an eye on things, check on that property regularly, and just make sure that nothing strange is going on. Right? So those are a couple obvious ones. The biggest thing you can do, however, to protect yourself against becoming a victim of this scam is to get a good title insurance policy. That is something that every single homeowner on the planet Earth should do. Right? Title insurance protects you from this type of thing happening. So in the case of the Toronto couple that we talked about at the beginning of this video, for example, they had purchased their home for $700,000. The home was sold out from under them for $1.7 million. However, the market value of that home at the time that the fraud was discovered was about $2.2 million. They had a good title insurance company. That title insurance company returned the entire $2.2 million to the original owners of the home. And the couple that had purchased the home legitimately, had paid for it with legitimate funds, got to keep it as well, right? So title insurance really saved the day there. So title insurance policies are something that your lawyer will typically set up for you at the time that you purchase a home. A lot of lenders will require you to have title insurance if you're putting a mortgage on that home. So chances are decent that if you have a mortgage on your home and you bought your home, let's say in the last 10 years or so, that you do have a title insurance policy on it. However, I highly recommend that if you're not sure whether or not you have a policy, that you reach out to the lawyer that closed out the transaction for the home that you bought and ask them the details of any title insurance policy that was placed on that home on your behalf will also likely be found in the giant stack of paper that the lawyer provided you on closing. Two more quick notes about title insurance policies. One, you might be surprised to find that they're actually really cheap. They're typically a few $100s. It's a one-time payment, and that policy will cover you for as long as you own the home. Second important note is that most older title insurance policies, right, 6, 7, 8 years ago or more, as well as most base policies, will only cover you for up to 2 times the price you paid for the home. So if you're living in one of these markets like Ottawa, Toronto, you bought your home 8, 9, 10 years ago, chances are that appreciation alone has more than doubled the value of the home. And the same thing can apply to people who purchase homes and have since put in significant renos. So in some cases, you may have title insurance, but you may be underinsured based on the value of your home. In the last few years, most large title insurance providers have added an option to purchase a premium policy. It's usually only about 10% more, and that premium covers you for the full market value of your home, regardless of your purchase price. So if you've got an older policy, I highly recommend you look into it and that you upgrade it to a premium version. And if you're not sure where to go for title insurance, 3 of the big players in Ontario are Chicago Title, Stewart Title, and FCT. So good places to start. That about does it for this video. If you've watched up until now, your 2 big takeaways should be that A, title insurance is one of, if not the best investments you can make if you own a home. There is no reason whatsoever for any homeowner not to have a good title insurance policy. And 2, if you're one of the people that's going around stealing other people's homes and selling them out from under them, it's not very nice. You should stop. I'm Serge Papineau. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.